Welcome to Spirituality Explained for the Average Joe, where I take one spiritual topic and cover it with you in a short video. Today's episode is a little bit different. While I'm sitting out in the middle of nowhere, we're going to talk about the Zen of traffic and how we can really just evaluate the human behavior while driving and what it tells us spiritually speaking about just how virtuous are we. Today's episode, we'll go over 6 spiritual items or virtues that we could observe while we're driving and what our own behavior while driving indicates about ourselves. And hey, just who are those people with road rage and how do they view the world? And most importantly, how do we cure road rage and feeling toxic emotions within ourselves? A lot of spiritual thinking and concepts and practices can be better understood just by watching ourselves drive. And Tosha Silver explores this in her book, Outrageous Openness, in the chapter where she goes over the Zen of traffic. If you have underlying issues that you may or may not even know about, I think a lot of the things we're dealing with come out when we're driving. And if you're wondering, just how do you cure or control road rage? Stay with me till the end and I'm going to share with you a tip for it. Number 1, trusting that there is enough. You know when you're in the parking lot and a person just swoops in and steals their parking space and they're so worried as if, they're not going to find another parking space with their name on it. And you, on the other hand, know that there's another spot that's going to be coming. It's really looking at the world of scarcity or abundance, right? People are either living their lives in scarcity or abundance. Any situation where people are acting out of anger or fear and break it down to scarcity or abundance, are they coming from a place of scarcity mentality or abundance? Things are always working out for me. The world's got plenty more just waiting for me. 2, generosity. Some people on the road maneuver like everything in their way is an obstacle to be avoided. But the road is an awesome place where we could be generous and kind. I mean, it's easy to let someone in or go in front of you, and likely that person is going to pass that kind gesture along and pay it forward. And for those that commute with the tube or trains, it's as simple as offering your seat to someone that might need it more than you. So I think it boils down to a sense of ownership, right? I mean, no one owns the road. And I think these kids might have been put last in kindergarten and missed out on some cake. We all know that the tighter you hold on to something, the more it runs away. And the chiller you are about things, the more things that you like just come to you. Your ability and capacity to share with others will measure the amount of things that you'll be able to receive back. Number 3, being with what is. This allows you to surrender and just let go, and even say a prayer for yourself to enjoy the traffic experience you have in front of you. Fighting with reality is actually worse than the traffic itself, if you think about it. So many times we're like, oh, red light, and we'll just get so into the driving as if everyone around us, it's all their fault for existing, and people get so angry when really, if you just look at the reality of the situation of you've got to get from A to B and there's going to be a million objects in your way and you're going to be sitting in this little tin box, why not totally enjoy it? Driving is one of the best places to be meditative. And for me, myself, I either try to manifest good things because
I'll just start daydreaming, or I'll try to be creative and think and write things like this, and I'll take voice notes.
You could totally set the mood with good music or even an audio book. So really just driving is, a lot of people say this, so kudos to you if you already enjoy driving, but just really surrendering to the experience. And trust me, I know what traffic's like. I did a decade in LA, and I used to actually say, okay, today I'm gonna play like Mario Kart in my little Fiat, and I'm gonna enjoy every single traffic issue I have. I have like an hour to get somewhere that takes over an hour to get there, and I'm just going to have fun and enjoy it no matter what, even if some of these studio lots will close and I won't even be able to get on if I'm late. But I still just made sure and welcomed every single thing that came into my traffic experience. So a true test of someone's happiness is if they can actually be happy while they're in traffic, because it's really just showing their happiness isn't conditional. So can you be happy? Or is your happiness conditional, meaning you're only happy when things are in your favor? 4, expecting the best. So when you're going somewhere, you may find yourself parking 3 blocks away because you want to make sure and get a spot and not be late. But you've got to expect the best and drive all the way up to that restaurant or place you're going, just expecting and knowing that the perfect parking spot is waiting there open for you. This is kind of like a big topic is pre-paving, an Abraham Hicks saying, which is you're going to, before you even arrive there, you've already pre-paved it, that the best parking spot up front is just sitting there waiting for you. And why wouldn't it be? Have traffic in the desert. So are you an optimist or negative? Because you're going to get what you think about the most. Okay, number 5, compassion. You know, in the book she says, when someone flips you off and flips you the bird, her friends said, oh, poor thing, that person probably wasn't breastfed as a child. I always try to tell myself, pretend that every person that's bothering me while I'm driving may be having the absolute worst day of their life. Because think about how delicate we are when we're having a bad day. And then now add the a-hole behind you that's laid on his horn for a full 8 seconds. It really just, people can be so tender in these moments. And so why do we want to inflict any more pain onto someone? I always go back to after I had a major surgery when I was in high school. I had a big scar about that big on my tailbone that had to heal from the inside out. So it took me a long time to get better. And when my mom drove me around, just getting in the car was the most painful task. And hitting any tiny bump was super painful, and I remember screaming at her. So you never really know what's going on in someone's car, so why would you inflict any type of anger in their direction, right? Like, it just gives you an opportunity to practice compassion. And if it's bringing up anger or any type of emotional reaction from you, that's something that you really need to start catching and thinking about, because what someone does with their life should have no weight on your own behavior or reaction. So just ask yourself, are you someone that is able to be compassionate? And if not, why? Equanimity. If you don't know what equanimity is, it's the opposite of road rage. Equanimity is evenness of mind, especially under stress, right disposition, balance, being calm and able to breathe. You know, there's so many people that actually start out their day with really good intentions, and they might say prayer, or they get all dressed up and go to church on Sundays, or they actually make the point of having a meditation practice. But when they step into that tin box, they lose their poop, right? So I've always been fascinated by the tin box syndrome is what I call it, which is when people get into a tin box, all of a sudden they're no longer human and they treat everyone else like crap. It's kind of like the same thing when you're on the internet and you're trolling and writing really rude things. But if you're actually in the same room with that person, or if you could actually remove these people out of their cars and have them look at each other, they're just two humans doing the best they can. So for the people with the metal box syndrome, they're usually people that, whether they're going from A to B, they've got to get there in the fastest route possible, even if they're not late. Or they look at the whole driving scenarios, me against you and all the world, and it's all mine, right? Like, I actually have friends like this. And, you know, we've really got to think about the psychology of me against the world. And, you know, are these people coming from a place of feeling loved and being happy and fulfilled in life? Because think about it, when they step into this metal box of a car, all of a sudden they put on this anonymity. If you know me, I'm awful with pronunciations. They put on this anonymity. Ugh. You know what I'm trying to say. Anonymity. It's a drone. And okay, so back to the metal box. If we're thinking about it, these guys, people, when they step into a metal box, a car, they must think that there's a level of anonymous, because I can't say anonymity, obviously, that all of a sudden they turn into this awful person that isn't scared to do mean things to people. So we've really got to look inside and be like, okay, these people are probably suffering from anger issues. Maybe they haven't, sadly, maybe they have never been recognized in life. They've never been seen, they've never been heard. They feel powerless at work, they feel powerless at home, they feel powerless with their spouse. Their parents probably treated them badly when they're young, or maybe even as adults. Like, so many underlying issues comes from, I think, people that don't behave well when driving, because there is this level of anonymous, and all of a sudden you're a prick. So really, I just feel like it's the easiest way to look at human beings and even your friends. So yes, everybody listening, maybe you need to clean up your act. So that's kind of what I want to say is, you know, if you know someone that can't be generous and can't give compassion and doesn't really believe that things are always working out for them and the parking spot is waiting for them, or that, you know, why is that so hard, right? Because they're dealing with these issues we've discussed, right? So how do we heal this for those people that are suffering with and all of this yuckiness comes out when they're available, when the opportunity to be anonymous comes up and you're a jerk? The simplest, fastest tip I can give you is to sit with yourself. Sit. And you've got to recognize now, what is it that really bothers me about this person, this situation, this thing? Is it that you're powerless? Is it that you feel like no one's even listening and no one cares? You feel unseen? You don't feel validated? Or is it that you want to be right? I mean, for me, a lot of my stuff is I want to be right, which is kind of like validation. Anyways, figure out what it is that's bothering you. Anger, validation, power, etc. And this is going to sound hokey, but it works. That's the only reason I'm telling you about it. Obviously, I'm not like a therapist and I don't study healing or any of this crap, but I'm speaking from personal experience. You are going to sit with that and say, you know what, body? I want you to know I know that you feel powerless. I know that you feel like things are out of control. And it's probably been like that from childhood or coming up from childhood or coming up from something you've experienced. So I'm going to sit with you in that experience now of feeling powerless now and maybe back to any time before. Sorry, my eyes just keep looking at how gorgeous everything is here as the sun has just set. I feel powerless with you, and we're just going to sit here together. That's how you do it. That's all you have to do. Now, not just 5 seconds. I'm not going anywhere, and I don't want you to go anywhere feeling a powerlessness. Just sit here. I'm here with you. I know it's in my body. It's somewhere. It's stored somewhere in your body. Now, I'm not a therapist, but I know this is kind of the stuff that they run you through. They'll ask you maybe to find where it is in your body or what color or what organ. So more advanced people can do that for you, but I'm just giving you an idea of a small way to start. Sit with the feeling that needs to be worked on. Tell it that you recognize it. You're going to sit with it. And you're not asking it to leave, and you're just holding space for it. Tell it you'll even come back again and try it 2 or 3 days in a row. And I guarantee you, if it doesn't ease up, you could say, Beth, you are the craziest airy-fairy girl I know. But it should. And it may or may not come up again because, guys, we are ingrained with our things that don't work out well for us. So, but throughout time, you may need to revisit this thing with power. And then you may need to go back into, I want to feel heard. I go in and out of this stuff, but at least I recognize it now and we could sit down with it. Isn't this some of the craziest stuff, guys? I mean, think about it. When we've got a problem, we think we need to throw some pills at it, or we need to like run an exercise and just do all these major feats to fix ourselves. When really, again, who'd have thought the answer is sitting in the silence? It really is that simple. Isn't it kind of ironic that God made it that way? All the healing is just sitting and holding space for it. Doesn't require much else. Holding space and acknowledging it with it. That's my suggestion to you, to tell your friends that are rageous, to tell yourself when you have road rage. Those are just indications of what's not really working out in your life. And I hope this video helped. Sorry, I ended up blabbing a little bit at the end. Obviously, I took a break midday and had me a little cerveza at sundown with my friends. Oh, and then before I leave, let me show y'all. If you like retro clothing, I've designed tons of cool retro tees and retro stuff. You know, if you follow me, I live around explosive experts and gun experts. I'm from Texas. I have lots of cool gun stuff. Obviously, I'm into spirituality, tons of cool spiritual tees. Check them out on my website. The link's down below. Thanks for joining me on today's episode. Please like, follow, and subscribe. I hope you're getting value out of my videos. And I love you all. Please share me with anyone you think I might bring inspiration to.